Hi.
Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Generational
Generational
Gap.
Gap. We did good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Third
Yeah.
time's the charm.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's been a really good day. I didn't do my live broadcast this morning because I think I really needed
To rest?
to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up like 8:30. And usually I'm
Nice.
up at 6:10 my alarm goes off. So
Mhm.
usually I'm up, at that time. And last night I put up an announcement saying that we wouldn't be on this morning at 7 o'clock. But I feel like I really needed that time just to get some rest, and just
Yeah.
to relax,
I'm glad you chose that for yourself today.
So I did my Bible study, and then I went and signed up at CrossFit and came back and made my salad and felt good.
Good.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Mm.
Um, but I feel good. I was able to take a nap after work, so
Mhm.
that's why I was a little late. But
Mhm.
I made it. We
You
made it.
made it.
And welcome everyone.
And left that old dog home. Thank
Okay,
God.
but I just want to put that out there. If you guys hear a little whining, it's because her dog is sitting right here.
Well, he's good. She's good.
No, she was doing a little crying. So just so y'all know, it's not Duke this time.
No, she's good. Sasha's good.
Well, we want to thank you guys for coming. We want to thank you guys for joining us again for Generational Gab. We enjoy this. We enjoy talking. We enjoy, having this Gab time. And we are very appreciative that you guys are enjoying it as well because you guys continue to watch. So we appreciate it.
Yep. So very much. So very much. So today, even like this morning when I took that time to rest, today's subject really goes along with this.
Yeah.
So today's subject is finding balance in a busy world. And this is very important. We need to find balance in everything that we do because you will get stressed out. You will
get burnt out.
Yeah, you get burned out and it's like you don't really have that energy to do anything because you're burned out. And it causes so many things to happen in your body, in your mind, in whatever, So this is really good.
So the scripture is from Matthew 11:28. This is the NIV version. It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." All right, so I'll read the first paragraph and you want to read the second?
Okay.
All right, so it goes, "In a world that constantly demands your time and attention, finding balance can feel like an impossible task. Yet, God invites you to come to him for rest and renewal. Balance is not about juggling every responsibility perfectly, but about prioritizing what truly matters and learning to rest in God's presence. It's about aligning your life with God's rhythm, recognizing that there's a time for work and a time for rest, and that both are essential for your well-being."
Finding balance requires intentionality. I think I'm saying that right.
Intentional.
Right. Setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and making time for the things that nourish your soul. When you prioritize your relationship with God, you gain the wisdom to manage your time and energy effectively. Balance is about trusting that God will provide the strength you need for each day and that you don't have to carry every burden alone. So it says really a lot. And like I said, today was that day where
you took your rest.
Yeah, I took my rest, because I was feeling unbalanced, So I wanted us to really look at this, especially like really identifying where we feel unbalanced and how we can, just take care of that.
Yeah.
So that we don't get burned out and don't get stressed about life and
I really love this one. I love the whole, like, all the devotionals, but I feel like this one is one that is really important, especially in this day and age that we're in. I feel like this day and age we are just so overwhelmed. We are overstimulated. We have to deal with a lot of changes on the regular basis. And it gets so overwhelming and you just feel so unbalanced where you're not able, like, and I'm speaking about myself, where there are a lot of days that I'm like, I can't watch the news. I can't talk to certain people. I need to just be by myself so that I can have some type of balance and have some type of peace and some type of rest. Because when you are thinking that you have to deal with every single thing all the time, you get burnt out. Dad tells me all the time, like, don't burn both ends of the candle, because it's just like you're not going to have anything left. And it's a thing that I try to remind myself, as worried or concerned, I'll say concerned as I am about things that are going on, there is still some type of solitude that I find, because I know that God got us regardless. And it's just kind of like, yes, things are going to shake you up, but you have to, what does it say? Trust. Where is it? You have to trust.
Balance is about trusting that God will
provide the strength for you that you need each day. So,
right now, my feeling unbalanced is because I'm not working, and those things that I could do before, I can't do now, and I worry about, well, how am I going to do this? And I had to cancel, something, like we as women, we like to do things that are going to make us feel good about ourselves and everything. And I had to cancel a couple of appointments because I don't have that extra to do that. And I thank God for my daughter, because she helps me to get my nails done or whatever, so it's just hard, wanting that balance. Sasha, I was talking about you were going to be a good girl and you sitting here whining.
She's trying to tell you about her balance too.
Please be quiet, sweetheart, okay? But it is really hard, trying to find the right balance in your life, trying not to stress about different things, and the thing is, we do have to trust God and believe that whatever it is that we need in our lives, He's already in control of it,
And it says, yet God invites you to come to Him for rest and renewal. And it's a thing where we talked about this so many times before, where it's just like, in God there is a sense of peace, and it's a thing where, like, when you go to Him, He is able to give you that peace where you will be able to recharge and you will get a new sense of, like, refound faith, and you will feel refreshed when you take that time to rest. And it's just like, I feel like it's like exercising, right? You know how they say you have to have a rest day so that your muscles can build up stronger, because if you're just constantly working these muscles, they're not replenishing, they're not being renewed. So then you become stronger when you take that moment. And I've had to learn a lot that it's okay to rest. Like, I feel like as people, as Black people, as Black women, we are constantly having to be in, like, that kind of fight or flight mode all the time. So we're always stressed, like, that's why a lot of times we find ourselves getting sick and we find ourselves getting ill, because we're conquering a lot of things and being resilient. And the thing is, it's time to take that rest. Because when you don't take that rest, that's when you will be sick.
Right.
You will be unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be okay with taking a beat, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not laziness.
Right.
God is, it says he's inviting you to rest.
Right.
Because you're letting him do the work.
And
you know?
two, a lot of times it's because we take on everybody else's stuff, you know? If our children call us and they're going through a lot of stuff, you know, we take that on. It doesn't even have to be your children, and family members,
People.
friends, people in general. You know, we take on a lot of that stuff. So we're taking that on and what we already have, you know, so it just makes things really hard. It's hard for us just to release. And in here, like it says, prioritizing, and sometimes you just have to say no.
You have to say no.
You do. I've learned that. Because there was a time when if somebody told me that I had to do something, go to a meeting or whatever. I remember one time canceling a doctor's appointment so that I could go to a meeting, you know, and that things like that aren't good. You have to have the boldness and the heart and whatever it is just to say no and go ahead and do what's going to help your life.
And that's why you have to prioritize
self-care.
What truly matters.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the part where it says balance is not about juggling every responsibility perfectly. Right. Like they're gonna
everything has to be
perfect, and that's not realistic. And you have to know that there are going to be some days that you're going to be super motivated to do X, Y, and Z, and there's some days that you're going to be like, I just don't have the capacity today.
Right.
And it's that's what it says. It says you, like, in God, you're going to recognize that there's a time for work and there's a time for rest. So it's not like, we're not saying like you're not doing the work, right? You're just taking a second, you're taking a beat, you're just prioritizing that rest in the midst of doing the work. You know, and I think that's just really important. And I do definitely agree with the saying no. Yeah. And I mean, you have to be selfish sometimes.
You really do.
You have to prioritize yourself sometimes, you know, and it's not a bad thing. It's a hard thing to do. I feel like
people don't like to hear no.
No, right. You know, like you people don't like to say no. I know I don't like to hear no.
People are so defensive and get offended so easily and so quickly, you know, that it puts you in a bind.
Yeah, and it makes you feel so guilty because you're like, dang, this is the first time I ever said no to you. Like and it's just like one of those things you have to realize, like, I just can't do it. I can't do it today. Maybe I can do it tomorrow. Right. And if I can't do it tomorrow, find somebody else to do it. Yeah. Like, you know, and you just have to just know. And I think you just have to have the discernment when to show up and when not to show up. Right. And I think that's the most important thing about when you go into God's presence, you learn how to prioritize these things. You learn what to say yes and what to say no to. Right. You know?
Yeah. So it's a good thing, because even like working in church and things like that, there was a time where I felt like I had to be there for everything all the time. But I learned my lesson and I learned it well.
I love that.
You know, so that's not me anymore. Yeah. That's not me anymore. Yeah. I'll speak up when I have to. Yeah. You know.
And it says balance requires intention, right?
Yeah.
So you have to set those boundaries. You have to say no when necessary. And you have to make times that nourish your soul.
Right.
Like I want to be the best person for my friends, for my family. I want to be able to be the best person. And in order for me to do that, I have to nourish my own soul. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like, what's the saying when they talk about like pouring into others' cups when yours is empty?
Right.
And it's just, you know, like it is kind of like, you have to take yourself into consideration, because in order for you to be the best person for the people around you, you have to take care of yourself. You know, and I feel like that's just it. This really spoke to me, because it's kind of like, with this kind of the world that we live in, it's just such a struggle where, you know, it's hard for you to show up for yourself. You know, like, we constantly have to work so much in order to afford eggs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to work so hard, and you have to remember, you're working so hard. How are you even enjoying the life that God has given you? If you're just constantly working and you're stressing and you're constantly depressed and you're constantly unhappy, and, you know, like, you're not showing up for yourself, you're not gonna be able to show up for others.
So true.
So
true. This is good.
Yeah, and it says, when you prioritize your relationship with God, you gain the wisdom to manage your time and energy effectively. And I think that's so true. That He just speaks to you and lets you know, this is where you should devote your time to, because this is what's going to fill you up. This is what's going to nourish you. Because I am a firm believer, and I'm very, very blessed to have a core group of friends that pour into me just as much as I pour into them. And so it never feels like I'm giving more than I'm taking. And it's such a blessing. So that's how I know that they are legitimately my best friends, because of that balance, and them understanding when they're like, Crystal needs her time, or Crystal, I they see you and they're like, I see you. I see that you're not, you know, so here's what can I do, you know? And I feel like God shows Himself in so many ways to help you. And like, when we're talking about rest, it's not just talking about laying down and taking a nap, right? We're talking about not having those kind of like pity discussions that don't need to be had, addressing things that don't need to be addressed, like wasting your energy on things that don't need to be wasted on. Sometimes rest is just taking a step back and not saying nothing at all, not doing nothing at all. And we're talking about in situations, everything doesn't need to be addressed, everything doesn't need to be spoken about. There are times that you can just not talk to someone, and that could be your rest. You know? So.
And then just getting away. I really am so glad that you have those friends that you can get away with, you know, because I know that it helps you, you know. So I'm glad that you have those friends. I never had a lot of friends or whatever like that. I do have one person that I can call
your road dog.
Friend. You know, I'm her road dog. But I never. You and I were so completely different, because in school I was so shy. I mean, I really didn't have friends to like that I could really call friends to hang around with or whatever, because of my shyness, because of the way I was. You want to move her out there? Hold on one second. We got to move Sasha. No, not take her out, because she's going to jump all over.
She's too heavy.
But anyways, I never really had friends, people that I could really call friends, that I could just hang around with and do things with, go shopping with, go to restaurants with, or whatever. I never had that relationship. But when Crystal came around, I admired really what she was doing. Because, I mean, she has friends of all Caucasian.
Not too much,
but at that time, because you're in drama, you know, but she had all of these friends and everything, and she had people that she could hang around with, you know, and do things with, you know, and a lot that helps you to be balanced, because you have that friendship. You have that time when you can just get away and just breathe and just relax, you know, so it's a good thing. You know, so.
I also highlighted balance is about trusting that God will provide the strength you need for each day, and that you don't have to carry every burden alone. And I just, Yeah, I just love that because it's a thing where we take on so much, and we have to realize that we don't have to carry it alone.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that you'll learn through your relationship with God, that there are certain things that it's not yours to take on. Right.
The battle is not yours.
Right.
It's the Lord's.
And so it's a thing where, like, first of all, we're not standing on our own strength. So it's just kind of like, do what you can and leave the rest.
Right.
Instead of trying to take care of everything and say, I have to get this done, I have to do this, I have to be here you don't have to do all of that.
No.
You don't have to do all of that. Yeah.
Pray. God will give you the strength to get through whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just pray. Give it to Him. I know I say this a lot when we're talking, but it is so true that if we just hand everything over to God, because I am a lot better than I used to be. I would worry about everything. I would get down and out about everything. But I have learned to pray, put it in God's hands, and just walk away from it. Go ahead and listen to some praise music and read or write or, just do whatever I can to feel better, and don't let people make me feel guilty about things, and that's where being able to say no comes in. And it's something that you learn over time. So.
And I feel like I also learned over time that what essentially what will be, right?
Yeah.
So if I don't get this task done because I'm deciding to rest, the task is either going to be there tomorrow or it's going to get done in a certain way.
Right.
If I say no to this person, they'll either understand or they don't understand. And if they don't understand, then that means they're not meant to be not in my life, but I have to reevaluate what that is, because the fact that if I say no to you and I say, hey, I can't right now, and you take offense to that,
they should be able to understand.
Are you supposed to be in my life?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
if they can't accept that, then they're not
supposed to be. And I think it's a thing that we have to think about. It's okay to lose. You're not really losing, but it's good for things to go away in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's decluttering. God is decluttering your life with certain things. When you are able to make a decision and you're able to prioritize, you'll learn that these things are not supposed to take priority into your life. These things are not supposed to be here in the present moment. So that would also help you get rest.
Right.
You know?
Because you're not stressing about what a person thinks.
Yeah.
And,
how you look,
have to let it go
about certain things. Like, yeah. I'm really trying hard to find balance in my life, especially as an adult. I now start to feel like, I know I've been an adult for a long time, but I feel like now it's like I'm an actual adult, and it's hard finding balance because no one gives you a playbook about how to be an adult. And you have to find a way to make peace with how your life is and make sure that you're putting God first, because He will lead you and guide you throughout your days. And you have to be actually intentional about prioritizing God, because then everything else will fall into place, essentially.
Right.
So that's what, and like I said, for everybody watching, I know, mommy knows that life in America is not the most peaceful place. I'll say it that way. But just know that, I'm speaking for Black people. We were built for this. We were resilient. And I feel like as long as you have God first, and we say this all the time, we're not talking about God is a genie. But there is a certain level of peace that will get to you when you know that this is so much bigger than you, the administration, the world, grocery prices, plane crash, everything is so much bigger than that. And it makes you realize that there's no way that you can be let down, because you're not being held up by your own strength. So
So there's an action step in this book, and it says identify one area in your life where you feel out of balance. Now, it's 2 steps, but talking about that first, identify one area in your life where you feel out of balance. And I think I talked about that a little bit, feeling out of balance because I don't have that extra, that job that will give me that extra financial stability, and right now that really is it weighs on me.
Absolutely.
Because I don't like the idea that I had to cancel an appointment today, and I've gone to all of these, so many job interviews and not getting anything, and it's just a frustrating thing, and I really feel out of balance. And I admonish anyone, years ago when I was working, why didn't I save money for retirement? I don't know why I didn't do that, and I want to make sure that my children, make sure that you are saving money for retirement, so that you won't have to go through what I'm going through now. So that's my thing, is I feel out of balance because of that. And then it says, well, what about you?
One area in my life where I feel out of balance. I guess the balance between spending alone time and then also prioritizing my relationships. Recently I've had a hard time doing that because work I don't want to say work is stressful, but work consumes a lot of my time. So and
you have more than one.
And then I have more than one job. So it's just like, and they're both jobs are very time consuming and kind of strenuous. So when I go home, I like to just go home, but I realize that like that's not healthy, because at the end of the day, and I also know I don't communicate with my friends and loved ones as much as I should, to let them know like, hey, thinking about you, let's like intentionally set a time to talk or to like hang out and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a balance where I just like to go home and go to sleep, but I know that's not healthy for like curating my relatitions. So that's where I'm kind of like out of balance. I think I'm getting a little too much rest.
No. Well, I don't know about that. But then it says, make a plan to create more harmony in that area by prioritizing what truly matters and seeking God's guidance.
So how do you feel that? Oh, well, you're just gonna make a plan. Like, can you think of something off the top of your head, like what you feel that you could do to create more harmony?
I guess just really putting it in God's hands and releasing it. I've written books, but yesterday, I started another book, but it's scripture word search. What I did is I shouldn't tell all this.
No, I don't understand why you're telling everybody yet.
But anyways, just doing something, because I have a creative mind, and I pray to God to give me creative ideas, something that will help me just to get my mind rested. I started back crocheting. I'm making something. I don't know what it is.
It ain't nothing. It's something.
I just put a whole lot of links on the thing, and maybe it'll just turn out to a gray, ugly blanket. But but it helps me just to relax and just crochet, you know.
And so now that it's making you bringing up a good point, because sometimes I don't know if we don't listen to God when He's like, you need to rest. Yeah. So He forces you to rest, right?
Right.
So like, what if this time period that you're in right now, He's forcing you to rest so that it would cause you to do what He actually wants and needs you to do in this very moment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where
That's
it's just
true.
like you might not have had, I mean, of course, it's unfortunate, right? But I feel like maybe that's what it is. Like God is forcing you.
Why I'm not working.
Why you're not working right now, because He needs you to actually work on something else that you can actually focus on and be creative. Because the job that you were working, you weren't being able to be creative. You were just going in and doing, you know, the function. But it wasn't that you were doing what you using what
talents God, and gifts that
right. And maybe it's a thing where like He's kind of forcing to you, like, hey, you weren't doing what I needed you to do. And sometimes it's just a hard lesson, that the rest period is just a hard lesson. Like when we're sick, they tell you to rest, and it's not fun being sick,
right?
But I need to rest to get better.
That's
you
good.
know
That's good.
And I wonder if that's
it
what that
be.
Is, because I feel like for me, my plan to create more harmony, you know, as far as like balancing relationships, I do think that throughout this time, I have been able to realize what relationships I need to keep and what relationships I need to sow into. And then I've also realized the relationships that are triggering for me and relationships that I shouldn't be giving any kind of anything to. And once again, I'm gonna emphasize, rest sometimes is not fun.
Right. That's true.
You know, it's like, it's not always fun. It's not always something that you look forward to.
Right.
You know?
That's true.
Yeah. So
that's good. Yeah. So I'm going to be, because I even have a couple of books that I have not finished. You know, one is a real drama, and one is kind of like is two friends, and it's like a comedy type of thing.
Is it actually funny though?
Well, you know, just a funny situation.
Whose sense of humor is it?
It's mine.
Oh, okay.
They think I don't have a sense of humor. I guess it's true, because I can sit and watch comedies and not
you be
laugh. Because some things just aren't that funny to me. It's
well, there's a market. You have a market.
The situations, they come into funny, real weird situations. But I need to finish. You probably need to finish those.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like God wouldn't have given you those ideas if you weren't supposed to finish it.
Right.
So maybe this is the time where like you're supposed to focus on those things that you started and haven't finished.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you'll, you never know.
Right.
God works like that.
Yes,
we've seen it before.
Yes.
So
I guess that's my rest period.
How can finding balance in your life lead to greater peace, productivity, and spiritual growth?
I guess that's what we were just saying, because if you let go of those things that are triggering and stressing you, you will have peace. If you let people go that are triggering, you will have peace. Whatever it is, if you let go of thoughts that bother you and stress you all the time, you will have peace. Once you take all of that stuff, just put it in God's hands and say, I'm not picking it back up. I'm just moving on. I'm just going to enjoy life. Yeah. You know, we can't enjoy life if we're stressing all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to just be able to let things go and trust God. And I've said this, acronym before, trust. Total reliance upon spiritual timing.
Yep.
And that's his spiritual timing. So we need to trust him and know that whatever we're going through, he's in control. He's
Yeah.
in control of everything. So we're going to make it. We're going to get through it, you know, and we just have to let go and let God have his way.
Yeah.
You know,
and what you're saying, it goes with the further Bible reading, and it's Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens.
Yeah.
And I let me say that again. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens.
Right.
And it just goes with God's timing. And there's a time and a place for literally every single thing. And we're talking about relationships, we're talking about jobs, we're talking about everything under the heavens, everything that God has created in your life and created, period. There is a season for it.
Right.
And it's a thing, like, we just have to remember that everything isn't bliss. Everything is not going to be exciting. Everything is not going to be happy.
Right.
I know for me, sometimes I mix, like, I confuse boredom with peace. And it's a things like, you're bored because you're at peace, but it's because you're not in like like, you're used to being in hectic environments, you're used to doing all these things, and it's just like, enjoy that. There's a season.
Yeah.
There's a season that you're supposed to be going through, you know, like, and I just, yeah, I love that scripture. So
we have to pray, and, you know, because it's, ask God, what do you have for me, or what are you having for me to do in this season of my life? You know, and really get before him and really pray,
and he'll show himself
about it.
and he'll show it. Yeah.
He will show himself. He will show you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I have to listen, you know, and really think about what my daughter has said. You know, maybe this is my season. This is the season in my life where I'm supposed to be resting and completing those things that God has shown me to do. Finish writing those books. Yeah. I've written 7 books so far, but I've got the 2 incomplete books, and maybe this is what God is, the season to complete it, the season to work on my music, trying to get my music out there too, and using those gifts and talents that he has already
instilled in you.
Yeah, instilled in me, you know? So, something to think about. Something to think about. What about you? Those that are watching?
Yeah, definitely let us know. If you feel, I hope, you know, that you guys know this is a safe space. So in the comments, please let us know if you want, like, you can let us know an area in your life that you feel unbalanced, and you can share with us how you feel that you can plan to create more harmony.
Right.
And we can hold each other accountable.
Right.
To make sure that, you know, hey, Ma, were you working on that book? Like, how many chapters did you finish? Like, how do you feel about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, and she can talk to me about, like, how was this relationship? Did you make sure you called so-and-so? Like, you know, we can hold each other accountable. Right. Like I said, we're doing this thing called life together.
Right.
So
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
You want to do the prayer?
So there's a prayer.
Is Antoine ready? There we go.
There we go. Let us say this prayer together. Everyone join us in saying this prayer together.
And I also want to say, when you say these prayers out loud, there is a certain dynamic that happens outside of you just saying it in your mind. So don't seem that it's crazy if you say this prayer out loud.
Right.
Because there's a power in tongue. Right. And you have to say it out loud. So let's say it out loud.
Let's say it out loud.
Lord, help me to find balance in my busy life. Teach me to prioritize what matters most and to find rest in your presence. Give me the wisdom to manage my time and energy in a way that honors you. Amen.
Amen. This has been really good. I pray that you have been encouraged by this lesson, and that it will help you to find harmony and balance in your life.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, but join us in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. We don't know what the lesson will be, but in 2 weeks. But please go ahead and share. Share this on your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn,
You said Instagram already.
Oh, what is the other thing?
So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Oh, okay. That's it, right? YouTube.
Oh, YouTube.
Yeah. Go ahead and share it and invite someone to come in the next 2 weeks when we do it again. But share it on your page, because someone else needs to hear this. Even though we're talking about worldly things and we're talking about the word of God, the word says that we are not just to be hearers of the word, but we are to be doers and sharers of the word. We don't want to just keep all of this stuff to ourselves. Yeah. You want to share it. That's how you show your love for someone else, when you share what you've learned so that they can get something out of it too. Yeah. So we thank you for watching. And like I said, I pray that you've been encouraged by this. So we will see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Have a good evening.